Okay, so this is not a normal episode. Right out the gate, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck have filed for divorce. We came home from the studio.
Well, Jennifer's filed.
Look,
Ben has not reacted yet.
no, so we literally got back from the studio recording this episode, and we said we need to sit for a minute because this is big. Like, sad, obviously, to have this happen to anybody, but we've been waiting for months for some
Yeah,
sort of response. But to catch people up, Jennifer just went to the court today, filed on her own without an
on her
attorney,
own, no attorney.
walked up, filed, and said, "I'd like a divorce
Well, I'm
on
sure
the
she sent like an
second
assistant or
anniversary."
something. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. But she's, as of an hour ago, when we are going through this,
Filming this.
looking up,
You know what this feels like? It's like when the housewives finish the season, they finish filming for the season, and then during the break, some breaking news happens, and then they have this like they have to film a
they,
reaction episode or a
yes,
reaction scene to like the breaking news, and it's like right. We've been covering JLo and Ben since the beginning of this podcast, and now it's like
yeah.
we've been like, what's the update? They need to say something, and now here we are. JLo has officially filed for divorce.
So in the divorce, here's what we know. Unfortunately, this is something that obviously Jen was just like, I'm gonna do it. I don't want to probably wait another anniversary and have this go by. She is not asking for any spouse support to be given to Ben. During the time of their marriage, which was exactly 2 years, obviously Zach and I were talking about this before of like, who's gonna get what? What happens? Because it is California, the probate and family code regulates the state's jurisdiction on who gets what assets. It's called community assets. So in this case, your time during the marriage of the 2 years, whatever you make is split 50-50. It might be up for governing of like who takes what, but essentially, if Zach and I were married and we both take home money, doesn't matter who's the primary earner, you
It's
split it
50-50.
50-50.
Yeah.
So in this case, I don't think they're gonna fight it because maybe they fight about the Ben and Jen documentary movie, like saying, hey, like that was a co-project, whatever it is, but everything else they kept separate. They had their separate lives, they made money outside each other on their own, 17 years apart. Like,
Minus the house, but it looks like I'm
correct.
assuming
It's
the
already
sale
sold.
will be split 50-50.
Yeah, that they're already in process. Ben's in a rental. Um, what we have had happen in the past few weeks is Ben had a birthday. Jennifer was not there. Ben was putting his daughter Violet into orientation for college with Jennifer Garner. A lot's been going on for the family. Jen has also been in the Hamptons with Violet. They've expressed that family comes first, their own families. So obviously Jen has kids, Ben has kids. This probably affects them and whatever divorce lifestyle they had already. So they're probably just trying to go on their normal lives, but we have no idea what Jen or how Ben is going to respond to all this.
Well, people are saying that like this had to have been intentional because she filed on the 2 year anniversary of their marriage. Like it's to the day that she decided to file this divorce proceeding. So people were saying there has to be some sort of significance. This isn't just a
Yes.
whim that she decided to pick
No.
today or
She,
Tuesday to file this.
so people say she might have gone for the jugular, something might have happened. Um, in past relationships, there have been accusatory cheating allegations and more when her and A-Rod broke up. To file on your second anniversary is very difficult. Like any decision to make, it probably is showing up to the courthouse being like, I'm either really mad or I'm really sad. It's one of the two. And we have no idea probably what is like behind closed doors, what might have happened, why it's been so silent for so long. But that, what people are speculating, could have something to do with why we had months of just no answer. So,
And she listed what was it? April 26th is the date of separation. So they've been officially split for months. When was our first?
our first podcast episode?
Yeah, because I feel like we were speculating then. Okay, so our very first podcast, was May 15th, and that's when we were already. So that's when news was starting to come out because we covered it on our May 17th episode. JLo and Ben Affleck split up. So that's when all of the speculation was going around was in May. So at the time that people were, looking into their relationship, they had already been split up and they've been broken up since April.
So we don't know, again, what may come. There's going to be more news from this. There's going to be more headlines, more he said, she said. But now the public has their answer of will they or won't they? Number one. Number two is now it really starts. You don't
Yeah.
really know
Because
someone
there's
until you
no
divorce
and
them.
there's no prenup, there's no agreement, so we don't know how any of the divorce proceedings are going to go. Because typically, you put a prenup in place to protect your assets, whether it's to keep whatever you had going into the marriage separate or to determine how the assets are split. I would imagine, and we kind of chatted about this beforehand, I would imagine my prediction is that they're probably not going to ask each other for spousal support, nor are they going to fight for each other, like for access to each other's estate, with exception for whatever they made during the marriage. I would assume that they're just going to keep that. Like she did, like she had a few film projects, he had a few film projects. Obviously, she had her
I think it's
her
going to be a
album
clean
drop.
divorce.
So I would assume they're just going to fight to keep whatever they earned during the marriage, rather than trying to fight for each other's money.
I don't think they're going to fight. I think they probably want to be done.
Yeah.
Like, I think, unfortunately, from
They
how
don't
much
need.
the
Neither of
press
them
is,
needs the money, nor do they benefit from hurting the other person in a divorce battle.
no, no. We will obviously be waiting for some sort of statement from Ben's team or legal representative on just how this kind of gets carried out through here. We're probably going to hear about this for another month.
Oh, we're gonna hear about it for another few months. We're gonna be covering it here on the Pop Report for another few months.
Well,
This ain't going away
obviously,
anytime soon.
no. But starting out that episode, that's the biggest headline. And now we're going back to your regularly programmed episode of the Pop Report.
It's the Pop Report.
So juicy.
Hey, Miss Ma'am.
What's going on?
You and I had quite the weekend.
We did.
We went to a party that was just weird. Like,
Yeah.
we don't go out much. And
I feel like you've been going out quite a bit lately.
At least,
I don't
like-
go out much.
So, for context, Zach and I went to an event in Hollywood during the daytime. I'm not a daytime drinker. Like,
I'll drink anytime.
I mean, like, I'll drink, but like, I don't go out during the daytime. People are like, let's go drink like at a bar and go to the next place. You and I were just sitting there.
I'm not one of those people.
We were just people watching hard. Like, because
Yeah, it was like a pool party.
you're just been in public. You're like, this is my worst nightmare. Like watching these people in their riffraff.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and the drinks were very expensive. Like,
When someone asks you to come to somewhere, I know there's this girl on TikTok complained about a birthday party and like basically said, there's no free drinks, everything else. I get that. That's a birthday party. That's different, girl. When someone asks you to come to an event that does not have free something and there are sponsors for the event, I at least expect a free one drink if you get me to come to Hollywood.
no, if you're inviting me to an event, like most people are going there for like there's a transaction, there's an exchange. People are being invited. If there's a step and repeat and there are sponsors, then people are being invited so that they can post and promote these brands and these sponsors. Tell me why we had an alcohol sponsor and there were no free drinks. I was like, why would I promote this alcohol brand if I'm not even getting to taste this alcohol brand? I paid.
Girl, I don't know shit about that alcohol.
Yeah,
exactly.
there was yeah, I had a $21 vodka soda. You know what I could have done? I could have got a $21 bottle of Tito's and had my own vodka soda at home.
When we went out to this event this weekend, I asked the bartender for an Aperol Spritz.
Oh,
And Zach looked at me and he goes, you sure you want that? And the guy goes, we're out of Aperol Spritz. And then we see the bartender to his left pull out the Aperol bottle. And I'm like, were you out of the Spritz or you out of the Aperol?
He said they were out of the Aperol. And then, but the other bartender went somewhere else and found a bottle of Aperol.
I'm like, sir,
typically-
your Paloma you made me was very bad. But
he
like,
wanted to
it's
do as little as possible.
he said, I will do you dirty.
And listen, I know it sounds bitchy that we're like, they didn't give us free drinks. But again, there's usually a transaction where when you invite people to an event with the step and repeat, you expect them to be like posting and tagging and all of that stuff. But it's like, what am I posting and tagging for if I came here?
And you
in
tried
an-
to charge me $40 at the door.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't.
Anyway,
They didn't try to charge
what's
me.
new with you? Anything else fun in your
It was
life?
funny. She's like, "Are you Zach Peter?" And I was like, "I am." She's like, "Okay, you can go." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh, yeah,
that
'cause
made
we
me
told
feel
her at the
special."
door. We're
Yeah,
like-
she's like, "Are you Zach Peter?" I was like, "Yes." And I was like, "I think Lewis." And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay."
Anyway,
That way I didn't have to
nothing
get
exciting
caught up
in
in
life.
40. Because if they would have charged me $40, I would have been like, excuse me, I'm going to go and buy a few drinks for $40 down the street.
Well, welcome back to the Pop Report. A new week, a new episode, a lovely time. If
What a
you
way to
haven't
start it off.
subscribed, this is my time to tell you to subscribe, because sometimes we forget to say that. But you know, like we've been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of wild that we come in here every week and do the damn thing.
I mean,
I hate us at the same time. Like I watch us back and I'm like, we're those girls. Like, but we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah.
First of all, I know there's been like in our hot in the headlines a couple things that have a mixed grab bag, but it's interesting how the Matthew Perry headlines are coming up, and I don't think they're going to die down. I think what was the death almost a year ago?
No, it was in October. Oh, well, I guess we're coming up on a year.
We're coming up on a year.
Wow, it's already
But we're now finally
August.
getting to more. I watch obviously like crime and all that, and you're like, not my jam. But like any charges to present against someone, that takes time. And we're finally in this point where a lot of charges or evidence is being brought to light. And we had 5 people arrested or like taken into custody?
5 so far that have been charged. And they're, most of them from what we're seeing are pleading guilty and just being like, listen,
Really?
I'm taking my sentence. I'm moving forward with it. There are a couple of them, mostly the doctors that are kind of seemingly at the head of the distribution schemes, don't either have not entered a plea yet or have entered a plea of not guilty. Which will be interesting to see how that all plays out. But at least the people that were close to Matthew Perry, like the assistant and the person that actually sold the assistant the drugs to distribute to or to give to Matthew Perry, administer to him, they have pled guilty. They pleaded guilty.
So this assistant, what have you seen? Because I've seen a few things with this Matthew Perry update that the assistant administered ketamine to Matthew Perry, like, multitude of times a day. Is that correct? Like,
yeah. So we're now getting testimony, and we're seeing, because the assistant's now just kind of just being like, listen, he's not really fighting it. I would imagine there's probably some sort of deal that he's taking to help maybe give some evidence to bring down some of the higher uppers. But yeah, apparently he was administering this to Matthew Perry like multiple times a day, up to 8 times a day. He was injecting him.
I saw like 5
ketamine.
and I was like, I don't know if that's correct, but
up
8.
to 8. He said 6 to 8 times per day. And especially, I think in the last week, he'd administered 27 doses to Matthew Perry.
I don't know what the standard dose is for any of that. I don't know recreationally or like medically, like.
It's illegal. It's not, unless you're with an actual doctor and doing it under a therapeutic, regimen. The amount you're supposed to be giving is none.
Ketamine has also come up so much in like just the last few years, I feel like, of just recreational use. Like on my street in Santa Monica, there's like, I think there's like a place that says like ketamine, like therapy.
Yeah.
And so like whoever was distributing this to this assistant, like I just don't know how the hoops you go through to get that and be a quote unquote dealer of ketamine.
Well, you need to be a doctor and prescribe it, and there needs to be therapeutic purposes behind it. And so usually when you do these therapies, they inject you with like a microdose. It's very minor and it's very monitored. Whereas in this case, they were getting just vials of ketamine and essentially from these doctors that were distributing them. I mean, it was essentially like, one of them, what's her name? Javine Sangha. She's known as the ketamine queen. She's literally had her whole system down. So there are a couple of doctors that have been arrested and that are being investigated right now. Like I said, a couple of them have pled not guilty.
Pled
so
no guilty.
So
no
we'll
guilty.
see.
Pass for me.
Pass, swipe left. So yeah, it's crazy. But you can see even this ketamine queen, she was apparently connected to another case that they found back in like 2019 where that person had died of an overdose or in connection with, a high amount of ketamine in his system at the time as well. She just kind of kept her system going after Matthew Perry had passed away. She kept it going until I think they cracked down on her. I think it wasn't even until March when they finally arrested her.
It's just so sad. And like this is your story you put in here. Like I see it, have a headline that says, ketamine queen continued dealing after death. Assistant purchased more than $55,000 worth of Special K.
Yeah.
And they call it, we talked about this before, right? Special K,
Yeah.
not the cereal,
No.
but like special ketamine is what makes it special again?
Well, I
just
mean,
like the dosage or just like the use
no,
of
I
it?
just think that's like the street name for it. Like pot, weed is
Got it.
marijuana. That's just what they call it. And I think it's more of a code. I mean, I think, what were some of the other code? Bottles, Dr. Pepper is how they were referring to it in the
Dr.
text message.
Pepper?
So I
Don't disrespect Dr. Pepper
I
like
actually
that.
love a good diet Dr. Pepper. I'm not going to lie. But so yeah, they were using different code names. But I know Special K is like one of the common code names, which we learned on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Oh,
Because apparently Heather Gay and Meredith Marks allegedly enjoyed to imbibe on some Special K. But I think they were allegedly imbibing on capsules, not injections.
we'll talk about that in a bit. What is your prediction of what's going to happen with this Matthew Perry case?
I think they're going to try to go after the doctors. I mean, that's really where it's starting. These doctors are the ones that have a license, and they're the ones that have access to these drugs. And we're now finding out that they're abusing the distribution of these drugs. I think the ketamine queen, I was reading something about how she even had videos of herself like cooking the drugs in her drug den is what they're calling it. Well, because I think there's a way to turn it into the liquid into, I think,
This
a
is
powder
Breaking
form.
Bad.
Yeah.
'Cause,
And
like-
so, but I was like, why was she filming herself? Like, because when they raided her drug den, which is what they're referring to, and they found there were many prescription pills that she was distributing, or allegedly, because they have to prove their case, but they did find large amounts, and that's why she's being charged with conspiracy to distribute. But it's wild.
It's all just sad. I mean, hopefully this can be prevented in the future. It's like the real thing we're at right now. There's nothing that can bring him back. There's nothing that can
Right.
really like educate too much right now, like on this situation for people to know. But otherwise, like these arrests will hopefully educate people more of like the use, what's going on behind the scenes, and just make this safer for everyone.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy the amount. I mean, knowing that Matthew Perry had a history of a drug addiction, and then also hearing the assistant talk about how it all went down that day, where like he administered a dose already, and then Matthew Perry would just ask him to keep administering more doses. And like I said, the therapeutic version or reasons behind ketamine therapy, you administer it in very small amounts, and it's very monitored. So the assistant was saying he was just like injecting him in, and even right before he passed away, he told the assistant, "Give me a big one." And so he injected him, and then he left to run errands, and then he came back and found Matthew Perry face down in the jacuzzi. He said, "Get the hot tub ready for me, shoot me with the big one," and the assistant just did, and that was kind of like a regular thing for them. But the assistant also has no business administrator. Like, he's not a doctor.
Yeah.
He's not a nurse.
No.
He's not a, doesn't have any, what is it, a phlebotomist?
Yes, that's blood. That's the blood.
But I mean, like, he doesn't know veins and injection. Like, he has no experience with any of this stuff. Like, he was literally a personal
it's
assistant.
just like a shot
that he's
of
done.
like the butt, or like I don't know. Again,
No, I think they don't shoot it up the butt. They shoot it into your bloodstream.
girl, if I was an assistant, I'm sorry, I don't know what is gonna happen with assistant, but like,
Well, he pled guilty. He's going to jail.
right,
He's going to prison.
There's the side people are saying, oh, they're just following like what your quote unquote boss's orders are, but you're like, these are things I can't necessarily do.
And even if, because he was a longtime assistant of Matthew Perry's, even like knowing his history with addiction and substance abuse, he should have caught 27 doses in 5 days is insane.
It's a lot.
Injecting him up to 8 times a day.
I'm doing quick math. Like
insane.
27 in 5 days, it's 5 times a day, and then there's like every few hours.
Yeah.
Just being on
Because
that.
Matthew would want more, and he would ask for more. And so he'd be like, okay, let me just give you another one. And it's like, how do you not then realize that this is a pattern that he's falling into? Especially considering he talked about ketamine usage in his book.
Yeah, and the creator of Friends is like, let's remember him for what he has been on like Friends and like other things, and not remember too much and reflect on like his tragic passing. We also have news that Daniel Fishel was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yeah,
And
she's
that,
from Boy Meets World.
yeah, that news was on every front page that I saw yesterday. And two sad things. Obviously, we're wishing her the best. What did you see that she revealed about this diagnosis? 'Cause I think she said that they'd caught it in time, that she's going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly early, enough to where she can seek treatment. I mean, it's not like a Shannon Doherty stage 4
Right.
situation. But it's crazy. I remember watching her on Boy Meets World, and then I know
Yeah.
she did the Girl Meets World reboot, and she was on, what was it, the Style Network? She had a show similar to like The Soup, but it was like on.
Oh my God, the soup.
She had her own version of that, and I think it was on the Style Network. I don't remember the name.
Yeah. I think you're right.
But yeah, but good to know she's taking care of her health, and she's, working on getting treatment.
Sometimes these stories are hard. These are very sad stories, but obviously entertainment's not always like fun and like, enjoyable, consumable. Like, these are people, you follow their lives, and a lot of stuff happens, and these are real people.
And we become invested in their lives
Yeah.
because we feel connected to them through watching them on our screens, the same way many of you are watching us at home on your screens. And you, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button, drop a comment. Gonna do a plug, drop a comment, subscribe, hit the little bell notification button. That way, anytime there's a new episode of the Pop Report, you get it in your notifications.
Moving on to music.
Are we moving on to music? Oh, music
I guess
time.
so. I mean, there's a lot in this episode, obviously, of things that are happening, not so great things, but hopefully we can try to find the light with everything. Paris is at least doing that with this situation that I have no idea how this happened. Like, I saw this video and I was very shocked. I was like, this must be an old video.
Yeah.
But her trailer caught on fire, which, do we know how this caught on fire? But it was a heartbreaking fire for the new music video of Bad Bitch Academy. And
are you listening to any of her music?
No.
Me either. I haven't listened to any of the new.
There was one song I saw that I really liked, but this one.
What is? She has a new song.
She's a new album.
I know, but there was a new song that's out right now. Free, because I'm free tonight. Yeah, that one.
Yes, she. It's sad to watch this. Like, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much you're
come on, you're being so dramatic today.
She lost personal stuff in there.
Oh my God, what?
Memories,
her curling iron. It was okay. She was filming her new music video. Her trailer caught on fire. A lot of stuff got burned. Nobody got hurt.
Thank God.
Everybody's okay. Everything's fine. Material items are replaceable. It sucks that it happened, but the important thing is nobody was hurt and everything is fine.
I don't know what personal items she had in there. Obviously, like, if it's a trailer, it's probably not like too much pictures, but like if her purse was in there, for example, and she had like a photo of like her family, that's like her good luck charm. That's the shit I think about. Like, there are a lot of people who have sentimental stuff they carry with them, like a locket of their grandmother or like stuff like that. I don't think she had anything like that in there, but that's always my first gut reaction is like, if this happened to me, if a fire happened in my trailer, I'd be like, my personal belongings that are sentimental, are they okay? But in this case, I don't think she really had any, except for hair extensions that were on fire.
Yeah, I don't think she had too much. Like, you're not taking too many sentimental items with you on the set of a music video where you're shooting just for the day. Like, if the studio were to catch on fire, how many sentimental items do you realistically have right now?
In my desk, I have a family heirloom that's worth tens of thousands of dollars. I hope
she's good. But you know who's not good is Chappell Roan. Is that how you say her name, Chappell Roan?
Yes.
I'm so sick of this chick. Okay, I almost said the other word that you don't like me to use, but I'm so over this Chappell person.
Why?
I cannot fucking stand her, and seeing her go crying on Instagram. I was watching her videos this morning, and I was like, oh my God. And then seeing her interview in, what was it, Interview Magazine?
With Bowen Yang, yeah.
You can give your commentary because I have a lot to say.
No, you say first. Give us the setup. I've been yapping over here enough.
Well, I know she said a lot, and she got a little whiny, and I get her fans. Like, I don't know. To me, I don't see the superstar like mega pop star in this Chappell Roan. How old is she? She's like a young.
She's in 20s.
She's a young woman. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think her music is that catchy. Her Hot to Go song I find very annoying. And she was on Instagram. So she did her interview where she talks about the pressures of essentially being successful. And she talks about the charts and how she doesn't even care about making it on the top charts because the charts don't mean anything at the end of the day and they're fleeting. And it's a metric that, you know, she doesn't understand why we put so much emphasis on it. And then I saw she went on, I don't know if it was an Instagram story or an Instagram live. I think it was stories. I don't think it was a live. And in it, she's talking about how it's weird and it's creepy that people like want to take pictures of her and that people want to come up to her and give her hugs. And then she says that people are also stalking her and she doesn't like the fame. And she thinks that, you know, all these random bitches, which is what she calls them. She's like, you're a random bitch and I'm a random bitch and we're all just random people and you should be leaving me alone because, you know, and I was just watching her and I'm like, what was... I don't know. I'm just like, why would you pursue a career where you are trying to achieve a level of success that comes with fame and then you're acting so shocked? It gives me J-Lo in the Hamptons acting annoyed that the paparazzi found her at the Grove. It's like you chose to pursue a career in this lane. And if you wanted to walk out, you can walk out at any time. Chappell Roan, you're fine. If you don't want your fans to support you and listen to your music to keep you on the charts because the charts are insignificant to you, then again, leave this world. You're not Lady Gaga.
Not the world.
Well, the Hollywood world, not the world. Sorry,
not leave the world.
Hollywood world. Like leave this entertainment world.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, it was very whiny. And it's like you're complaining about the people that have given you the success that you have when there are so many struggling artists that would kill to be in the position that she's in. And she just comes across as whiny and bratty and ungrateful.
I feel like I should have given you like a little minute to be like, you like say your piece and like throw it back. Like for context, Chappell Roan has been like everywhere lately.
Yeah.
I'm at this point where, yes, she has been 10 years in the making, like, success. Her songs from 2021 are now like becoming super, super mainstream. She had tens of thousands of people at Lollapalooza. I think I'm ready for new stuff personally. Like those of us
I'm not. I'm ready for her to go away.
Okay, anyway. Those people who've known her music for a while have like heard these for years. But like I think when people are very much interested in like the music scene and like becoming in it, you know, 10 years working for it is a long time. I think once you're in it, your body has like a kind of like a shell shock of like, oh my God, like I'm not used to this. I think it is happening for her really fast. Like she went from 0 to 100 in a few months. And I think she's having a hard time just like managing it all. I think her music's not like
good.
Not girl. No, I think her music's not comparable to other people. I think a lot of people have compared it to, of course, she worked with the same producer as Olivia Rodrigo, and like she produced her songs before Olivia's, so they do have a very similar like chanty, like audience-y, campy-esque tone to them. I think I'm just ready for like a new thing from her. Like what is going to be like the next thing, because these songs were a while ago, and at least for those of us who've known Chappell, I'm a little hot to goat out. I'm a little hot to goat out.
I am too, and I just discovered the song not that long ago. But here's my point. My thing is, you said she's been working on this for the last 10 years. What was her goal? If not to be successful, famous, and available, and with the ability to keep her bills paid, what was the point of doing this? Because if she wanted to be an indie artist, she could have stayed underground. She didn't have to sign with the management team. She didn't have to sign with the talent agent. She didn't have to go to Lollapalooza, where she had thousands of fans that came out to support her. It's not like paparazzi culture and fan culture. It's not like any of that is new.
We don't know like the statements she's gotten on like the harassing side of like people online.
Oh my God, people throw those words around way too easily too. Like again, we can't
she
speak
said the
to
word
that.
Like stalking. We don't know what these are like.
We don't know what that means though.
But obviously like
Rachel Leviss is also claiming revenge porn. So just because somebody says it doesn't necessarily make it true. Because I think a lot of people hyperbolize some of their words. And again, I'm not trying to say that like stalking celebrities is okay. And I'm not trying to say that you but it's like you went into an industry where you were losing privacy the more success you got. So you can't then complain about, It's like, again, wanting to be in the NFL and working so many years to become a professional football player. And then you get on the field and you get tackled and break your ankle. And then you're upset that you broke your ankle. And you're like, it's unfair that I got injured. When it's like, you knew you were going to be on a tackle football team.
There are risks.
And you know the risks before signing up to this. And guess what? If you want to stop playing in the NFL, then get off the court or get off the field and go back, to playing in your backyard, and nobody will find you there.
So I think, honestly, my prediction is, because Chappell is asking for privacy, she has people allegedly stalking her and more. I think she might just get a little more private after this and maybe take a break from music.
And you know what? People do that all the time.
People
Lorde did it. Adele did it. There are people that are true artists. I'm sorry, that are not singing "Hot to Go." Adele, true artist. Lorde, true artist. Very different style of music. That's not to say that Chappell Roan isn't a real artist, but I'm just saying she has a very campy-esque style. But she says that this is her art, and people need to respect her art.
Yeah.
And she's referring to her music as her art. But I'm saying, arguably, you have examples like Lorde or like Adele that have a craft, and they don't have the gimmicks. Adele has a beautiful voice, and she doesn't need all these flashy costumes or gimmicks to make her anything more than the music, which is her priority. And she's often talked about hating the pressures of fame. And you know what she doesn't do is go perform at Lollapalooza.
I think Adele's above Lollapalooza.
I agree, but it's because Adele made conscious decisions throughout her career to not overexpose herself.
Yeah, I think Chappell has a lot of people interested too, because this is the first time we're seeing an artist again, in the art of it, like a Gaga-esque. People are comparing it, the outfits, the wigs, the wardrobe. It's a lot to keep up, and she's probably like, I'm fucking tired.
And Gaga knew what she was doing. Gaga didn't make songs like Paparazzi or Fame Monster. And Gaga knew exactly what she was doing. She knew what she wanted, and she doesn't complain about the life that she has. It's challenging, sure. It's a different style of life that isn't relatable to most people, but you still see Lady Gaga out there so grateful to her fans. You see Adele out there so grateful to her fans. You see Lorde and all these other people that are just so grateful for the life that they have, because all of these fans are the ones that keep them afloat. And Chappell Roan really doesn't look like, based off of her interview bites, based off of the video that she posted, has no level of humility or gratitude towards her fans. If anything, they're more of a nuisance to her more than she is grateful to them, based off of her own words that I've seen.
Yeah, I think she's trying to grasp how it is to have fans. That
Again, why do you work 10 years to become famous in music if you don't want fans?
Some people love their fans. Some people don't know. Some people are like, I'm in it for the art. But
then go play at the Universal City Walk, I think, with your little guitar, and you don't need to be on big stages.
In other news, a man saved people while on his way to Disney and off duty. I thought I'd sprinkle that good news in here. I had to report on this at work, but yeah, there was a man with his family off duty at work. The question is,
off duty what?
Off duty firefighter.
Oh.
People are I don't know why people get riled up on stupid shit, but people are saying, oh my God, he was off duty. He's going above and beyond. And it's honestly, there are certain fields and roles, if you're a doctor on a plane, if you're a firefighter, it's I'm gonna jump in because that's what I know how to do. Are you gonna watch someone die? Are you gonna? People are he should have
done what? Let it.
There's so much pressure for these people to have to jump in. It's girl, I'm sorry. Do you want someone to die?
Also, nobody's making him do anything. He did
this
on his
Samaritan.
own. Yeah, he was being a good Samaritan. Nobody was forcing him to save somebody's life. He was a good person that wanted to do a good thing that had a skill set that came in handy.
I don't know. People are weird. When I'm here's a good story, and I'm girls, why do you make milk sour?
Exactly. Keep it in the fridge.
Keep it in the fucking fridge.
Speaking of sour milk, did you see what's going on with Alicia Silverstone?
No.
Oh my God. So she's literally blowing up on TikTok right now.
Okay. Unlike Jules, the Miss Demure.
Well, not in a good way, at least. Okay. So she is in England right now. And she posted on TikTok because she was walking through the streets of England. And I guess somebody had a bush, a fruit,
when you
something.
Say bush.
like people have trees in their front yard, and sometimes the fruit hangs out and hangs over, and so people would take like a fig or an orange, whatever.
Yeah.
So there was like a little bush or like a little tree, and it was dipping out, and she was walking down the street, and she's like, "Oh, look at this little fruit. What is this fruit? It looks like a tomato." And she's like, "But it's not a tomato." And she's like, "And I eat it, and it's kind of bitter. It tastes like a pepper."
Did someone yell at her out the window?
So she's eating this thing, and she's like, "You know what? I don't know what this is. What is this fruit?" She's like, "If anybody knows, it looks like a tomato, and here's the thing, and here's what the leaves look like." And so she's eating, and she's like, "It's so weird." And she's like, "And this is what it looks like on the inside." And she's like, "I can't figure out what the taste is." Only to find out
God. Buckle
it was
up.
actually, let's see.
Poisonous?
Yes. It's a toxic fruit, a poisonous fruit. What is it called?
Can you imagine? Like, this is why I don't pick up stuff from strangers' yards.
It's called a toxic Jerusalem cherry fruit.
Why do we have it then?
And everybody's like, "What is going on?" And everyone's like, "We haven't heard from her since she posted this video." They're like, "What happened to her?" So nobody knows what happened, but the internet is kind of like low-key living for it. Because they're like, "Why would
God,
you
we hope she's okay.
People are like, "You're not supposed to just be eating random fruits that you don't know
Where they came from.
Yeah.
It's not like a serves her right situation. It's like, girl, like, why are we putting these trees in our yards?
Yeah, you should not. That too. Like, why do you have poisonous trees in your yard?
They're
Number
pretty.
one.
No, they're hazardous.
And also, not only that, but like, why are you just reaching into somebody's yard and just eating a little fruit? So she's just eating away. She's like, "What is this little fruit?" She's like, "And this is what it looked like." And she's showing. And she's like, "If you guys know what this is, let me know."
Nope. First of all,
And she's just
I wonder
going
when that
ham on it.
person's going to speak out about the people eating shit from their bush and if someone else has done this before. But second of all, like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I hope she's okay.
They're harmful to eat. Ingesting a small amount of berries or leaves may leave you feeling sick to your stomach, throwing up, or have diarrhea.
Sounds like a Pepto-Bismol commercial.
They can other symptoms can also make you drowsy, hallucinate, or have problems with your heart rate.
Nope, wrong time. I should not have said that. Moving on to things that are fruit adjacent, but no apples involved. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City trailer dropped.
Yes.
And this is season 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not kept up with Salt Lake City. I know the highlights of the past few seasons. I know what's happened. I watched part of season 2. I think that's where I fell off. But like, I know obviously someone is ousted. There's supposed to be someone who is recording conversations like in the friend group that like producers obviously make them be friends with. But season 5 shows Mary Cosby, all the girls doing things, 2 new cast members, and like, what's happening, Zach? Tell me what's happening, because I don't know Salt Lake City enough.
Yeah, season 5 returns September 18th.
Okay.
Thank
you for the voice.
So Mary Cosby's back as a full-time housewife. She left after season 2, was not there for season 3, guested in season 4, or was a friend of in season 4, and she's now returned full-time. We also have another full-time cast member. Her name is Bronwyn. She looks very feisty. And then we have 2 new friends of that are joining as well, which we don't really see in the trailer though. But I mean, it looks like it's going to be a good season. We see like Meredith's friendship with Mary kind of crumble because they've been, the most solid. I mean, I guess that's the most solid relationship that Mary's had since she originally left the show, was with Meredith. So to see them kind of fall apart and see Mary throw Meredith out of her house is going to be kind of wild. It's going to be, it looks like a really good season. So I'm excited for it.
What is this whole like recording conversations thing? Like,
I mean, I guess that's what we're going to find out. One thing I like about Salt Lake is we don't typically get a lot of leaks about what is happening. We only got one little leak about a fight between Lisa Barlow and Mary Cosby, but outside of that, we don't hear much about what's going on. So when we go into the seasons, I feel like we can go in and be a bit surprised rather than kind of already making up our minds going
Beverly
into
Hills,
it.
we get everything leaked. Like, we already know what's coming in a way. Like tabloids are talking about. Salt Lake City is like a quiet sleeper, and then it hits like last season.
Which it looks like it's going to hit this season. And the newbie seems like she's definitely going to be stirring up some drama.
Well, glad to hear your hot take from Mr. No Filter with Zack and the Bravo-esque world. I also see that we're going to talk about Blake Lively.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, because we work in entertainment news, I also report. People have been asking me all the time, what's up with Blake Lively? What's going on? And they're all little things, but they all add up way too big. Like, everyone wants to give like a pass for each situation. Oh, must have been this, must have been that. And it's just a big, big laundry list from what I have to explain and what others on social do about just things that Blake has misstepped on, or things you're like, not the best, could have been better, but you're like, it's not a small list.
I mean, she definitely has like a pattern of being rude, but now I feel like everybody is like combing through everything
Yes.
and like picking apart every little
Things she
thing
said.
she's saying and like over, dragging it out. And I'm all like, okay, like she's a bit of a bitch behind the scenes, and she's not the most pleasant to work with. I got it. She's a little condescending to some reporters. Got it. But like, not every little infraction is like,
Not everyone's gonna be a likable celebrity at the end of the day.
but also like sometimes like people do have an off day, or like I saw something, like there was an interview that somebody posted about this guy, and he like, I think he posted it of like when he interviewed Blake Lively
recently, and like, what should I ask you, like in public, like if someone comes up to you, not that one.
No, there was another one that I saw. I'm telling you, everyone's dragging up all of their interviews. So he was interviewing her, and it was on the red carpet, and she was pregnant at the time. And he's like, oh my God, my wife's at home pregnant, and she, I'm rubbing her feet every night, and she's having all these cravings. And he's like, how are you surviving? And she's just like, he's like, your wife's lying to you. We don't really have cravings, and like, we don't really need, she's like, she's taking advantage of you rubbing her feet every night. And she kind of said it in like a joking way, but it was also a kind of like,
I know better than
sarcastic kind of way. And I was like, okay, like she was a little, I don't know. I'm just like, she's not pleasant, but like, you can't like turn everything into a sin.
Yeah, the comments people were making to her, like serious questions, like just having a conversation. She's putting off like just sarcastic, not landing humor.
Yeah.
Even when someone asked her a serious question on this latest junket of, you deal with serious themes, you deal with like, domestic abuse, you deal with all these things in the new movie. If someone approaches you in public, how should they best start a conversation with you about these themes? And she's like, do they want to come, like, do they want my phone number? Do they want to come to my house? Like, do they want my social security? Like, it's just, they're not landing. So many things are not landing well.
It would be different if the movie was different, right? Like
the promotional parts of the movie also now have come into light. Like how it's being promoted, how Betty Ball or Buzzball, what?
Not Buzzball.
Not
Buzzballs are those little.
Betty, her drink alcohol line.
Yeah.
They did an alcohol like drink for the movie, and people were like, because there's domestic abuse themes, like, do we think it's great to put alcohol as something as a limited release for this movie, which alcohol and domestic abuse can sometimes be linked together.
Well, it was a recipe that they were doing at like a premiere party, which I think is a little, I mean, I think it's tone deaf that she's doing promotions for her alcohol brand and for promotions for her hair care line.
The hair care line, people were like, they couldn't control the timing, but it's like,
they could, and they intentionally did it with this timing so that that's how these things, again, behind the curtains, Welcome to Oz, like they intentionally do these things for the promotion. Like celebrities plan launches of products in conjunction with their film releases so that they can, because they're going to be on a press tour, and they want to make sure that while they're on a press tour, they have an opportunity to promote their products in addition to promoting, their movies. And so it was very strategic, but it was also very tone deaf, I think, of her to want to promote her products. Again, the nature of the movie is just not like, we don't see Justin Baldoni going out there promoting his seltzer line or his hair care line.
The last few things have just been like her sharing the domestic survivors like hotline in her Instagram stories when Justin was very frontward facing, where that's like, this is 24 hours
feels a little
and Blake's is gone. Comments have just like again come back up of like the promotion of this movie. It's in Blake's perspective, grab your florals, grab your friends for this romantic comedy. And in the past, she also said, why do we always ask women about the wardrobe? Why do we always like glorify the wardrobe when she's also being seen like flaunting around a Britney dress? So,
which was also strategic.
But everyone's like, this is not this is not a romance like movie. This is like
Yeah.
it's just all promoted very wrong. But now she's slightly speaking out in a way. Like,
Well, she's she's on her Instagram story trying to like promote, domestic violence hotlines that women can call, which cute to put it on your Instagram story,
but
but
it's
I
not
think
going to
it's
be there
more.
forever.
It's not gonna be there forever, and it's just like it's kind of, in my opinion, hiding from the negative press that's going on.
Yeah.
Because everyone's gonna be looking at your Instagram account. That it just, to me, it's her just trying to save face at this point.
It's just very passive.
She's the one that needs a crisis PR team, not Justin Baldoni.
I'm waiting for the crisis PR team to hit with Justin Baldoni. I much like Jennifer.
I don't even think they need to hit. I think Blake's doing a good enough job of taking herself down.
I mean, there's times where I'm like, I don't love how we talk about sometimes the same people over and over again. Like, it becomes very tabloid and salacious of us, but like, there are just things that keep coming up, and it's like, why can't we just do better sometimes a little bit? But like, I don't see this story dying down at all. I do want to see the movie because of it. But
listen, it's great promotion for the movie because I really want to see the movie now.
Woof. In other news, Hawk Tuah girl has come back into our circle. Yeah.
She just won't leave, will she?
She is claiming that Young Gravy asked her out.
Yes. So she was telling TMZ that
God.
Young Gravy slid into her DMs and asked her out. And
Young Gravy also went to the VMAs with Addison Rae's mom. So this same Young Gravy is flipping the script to go after Hawk Tuah girl. And I just find it strange.
He's not, though. And so he's come out.
He's saying he didn't. And I'm like.
And he released the DMs. He took screenshots of the DMs and he's like, I did not ask her out. Here are the DMs. I literally invited her to one of my concerts.
Do we think that is a connotation, though, of like a...
He said, let's read them. He said, can't be nice to anyone anymore. And so he DM'd, what looks like she DM'd him, and then he DM'd her and said, damn, I just looked at your page. You really out here doing this shit. LOL, congrats, B. When I went to find your page, I was for real just trying to salute you for being a certified top champ. Oh, and this ain't just me trying to finesse, because I don't know your man's situation. Heart, but I wanted to have you at a show next month to hear my country shit. And she said, when is it? And then he said, I suppose you can pick one. And he sent the dates.
And she never picked one.
No, she went to TMZ and told TMZ. And
she said, he asked me on a date. Well,
is that a date though?
Some people can argue, like, read between the lines. Others could be like, look, she's trying to stay relevant.
She's clearly, I mean, who goes to TMZ and is like, oh yeah, Young Gravy DM'd me and asked me out?
I won't be doing that. I'll tell you that much, because Young Gravy's not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole. Wrong team.
My man wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole.
My man got me pregnant.
With the 10-foot pole.
Last but not least, I know you've been on Court TV a few times as of late. I wanted to check in with you on your beauty rest, your sleep, if you're getting enough sleep apnea. What time do you get up for Court TV, and what is happening with what you've seen in the Tom Girardi trial and your predictions?
Well, Court TV is East Coast and it's live, and I have to be up at I have to be camera ready by 5 a.m. Pacific time. Full glam at 8 a.m. on a Thursday morning. And so, but I've been following this Girardi trial with Erica Jane's estranged husband. They're not officially divorced. She filed for divorce back in December of 2020. The divorce was put on hold with all of these criminal proceedings. He has two trials. One is happening. One's currently happening in Los Angeles, and there's another one that is going to be happening in March in Illinois. So right now we're in the LA trial. Right now, it's just focusing on him, but he's also being charged alongside his CFO, the Girardi Keys CFO, Christopher Camone.
The fact you remember these names.
I've been studying this for 4 years.
No, you're like, my 10-year overnight success is happening right now.
But so anyway, I think we're on day 9 of the trial. So the last 2.5-ish weeks, downtown LA courthouse. Tom Girardi's been showing up. We heard the prosecution's arguments, and now the defense is laying out their arguments in court. The jury will make a decision. I mean, if not this Thursday, then early next week for sure.
If not now, then when?
But so the prosecution is arguing that, well, Tom's defense, he first of all has a public defender because he can't afford to hire an attorney, and no attorney is willing to represent him right now. So he has a public defender. And so the public defender is trying to say that the mismanagement of funds, so people that aren't familiar with Tom Girardi's case, he was taking on these contingency cases. He's best known for the Aaron Brockovich case, which was the Julia Roberts movie. And so that was one of his like big breakout cases that really kind of made him a household name. Since then, he's taken on a number of like really big lawsuits against mega companies, and won these really like $80 million, I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars in lawsuit settlements, only to now find out right after Erica Jane filed for divorce, this house of cards came tumbling down, and we found out that clients were not getting their money, and they were claiming that he was dodging them from payments. So now that's what he's in court facing. And so we're now going through all the financials. We have former staffers from Girardi Keese that are testifying. We have former clients from Girardi Keese that are testifying. We have special agents from the IRS that are testifying against Tom Girardi. We're going through all the numbers, and it's wild. But so or his legal team is trying to argue that he has Alzheimer's and dementia. He's been in cognitive decline for the past few years. And so it kind of got out of hand. But as he got older, he was trusting the CFO, and the CFO was the one that was managing all of the finances at the firm. But the prosecution's done a really good job of showing us that there are emails and receipts and former clients,
timelines,
literally everything, showing that Tom Girardi was very much aware of this mismanagement of funds, and his priorities were towards paying off personal expenses rather than paying off clients. And to give people context, like there's one woman, her name is Erica Saldana, and her son...
You brought up her before,
Yeah, her son... she was in a car accident. They were hit by a drunk driver. Her son was in a car seat. The car seat malfunctioned, and her son has now become paraplegic. And Tom represented that case. I think the settlement was for $17.5 million. And now when an attorney like Tom Girardi represents cases like these they are contingency cases. So you go into it with the agreement that there's a 30 to 40% cut that the attorney is going to take. So even if, let's say, the settlement is $10 million, then at least $3 or $4 million is going to go to the attorney, and the rest will likely go to the client.
Right.
Or at least that's what the goal is, right? And then there are also fees that they're allowed to deduct, or costs that they're allowed to deduct in addition to the attorney's fees. But so this woman, her son became paraplegic from this car accident. So she sued the car seat manufacturer, and she obviously sued from the car accident as well, got this large settlement, and she wasn't getting the money. And obviously this is a severe case where, he was a year old at the time of the car accident. So he's a toddler that needs assisted care, and she needed to like buy a home that could accommodate his special needs. She wasn't working, her husband wasn't working, and they weren't getting the money from Girardi Keese. And Tom would give all of these clients, with these allegations against him, runarounds. There's a tax issue. There's, the judge hasn't signed off on the release of the funds yet. Or at one point he told one of the clients that there was like a special taxation of this settlement because she was like a woman, and
So I'm gonna be that girl and say, cut to the chase. Guilty, and how much do you think is gonna be the result of like the funds? Like, obviously we think he's going to jail, right?
It's not looking good for him.
Okay.
His defense is trying to lay out their argument right now, but I don't think he's going to get out of this. I think he's going to end up serving prison time, and he's probably going to end up dying in prison.
How do you think Tom Girardi is going to pay, or the finances of Tom Girardi to all these clients?
So we are finding out in court that a lot of these clients are. So what happened was, once the house cards came tumbling down, a trustee was appointed to oversee all of the finances. They were liquidating all of his assets, closing off cases that were left on the books, bringing that money in, and then paying people out.
Got it.
So a lot of these clients have, like, there's the orphans and widows case that people often reference, or the burn victim that people often reference. Those cases have been paid in full, and there are other people that are now just awaiting their settlements, and they're working with the trustee now.
Time. So your answer is time.
He's definitely getting time. He's going to
I
prison.
mean, they need it. They'll get paid in time.
Well,
yeah.
we'll see. There. I
Hopefully.
mean, that's kind of. I mean, it's not necessarily in time because eventually, like, that's going
Someone's
to run
owe up
out.
at some point. Yeah.
It's going to run out at some point, and unfortunately, these clients don't have priority in this. His other creditors do.
Well, we'll keep you updated and obviously keep us updated on your court TV appearances. But that's all for our discussions on this, Mr. Court reporter Zachary Peter.
Yeah, I'm like Kim Kardashian going to law school.
You're like, Your Honor, I as a witness believe that this man owes money to these people, and I rest my case.
Gavel.
Cunt.
Serving.
Well, what a fun time with you every week. What else is coming up for you? Anything fun for the rest of the summer?
Gonna be here every Wednesday and Friday, serving you all the latest news.
Of court TV.
That too.
Yeah. Well, obviously, you know where to find more of this podcast. You subscribe, find us on Apple, and so much more. Our reviews have been cute. I saw one that said, "Keep up the good work," and that was the entire review.
Yay.
So if you leave a review, we'll read them out. If you have some feedback on the reviews, we'll read them out and maybe roast it. I don't know. Give us a good roast. I know you listened to this full episode.
Yeah.
I know you're listening to my breathing in the mic. I know you're giving me nothing while you listen to this in the car on the way to work or something. I don't fucking know. But obviously, leave a review. Keep up to date. Zachary,
Yes.
tell them to do something.
Follow me.
No.
Slide into my DMs. And subscribe to the Pop Report. And leave us a comment if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify. You can now comment on Spotify. So let us know your thoughts.
Oh, yeah. That's a big change. We also have video on Spotify. So if you consume it on video, our faces are just up there. I hate
on
us.
Spotify
Oh
and
my God, I
YouTube.
hate
So you
us.
can tune in there.
Well, obviously, talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.